What's going on, y'all? I'm Waldo from Face of Wrestling here for another wonderful 4 for 4, and this time I have one of the real-life superheroes of the real world and wrestling together, Troy Marcum, here at Pro Wrestling Element tonight after a killer match with Christopher Daniels. Highly recommend you go back and check it out, and check out the upcoming Pro Wrestling Element shows. How are you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. Had a really fun and competitive match with Christopher Daniels. He's always been 1A for me to wrestle, and 1B was someone that's unfortunately we can't really mention. His name also starts with Chris, so I think everybody could probably guess who that was.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not really somebody that we like to mention. But Christopher Daniels was always on the list, and today I was very happy to be able to try to mark that off my bucket list.
And it was definitely worth it for us fans that were in the crowd watching.
Appreciate
the match
that.
tonight. Very well done.
Yeah, he got the better of me, which is completely fine considering he's the father of independent wrestling. Like, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing today without that man. So
That is true.
He's a wonderful human being, and I was very happy to be able to test my mettle against such a great competitor.
So I talked to you briefly before this, gave you the rundown of the rules.
Yes, sir.
And for those playing at home, it's 4 questions, top 4 answers, and we're about to start. Are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
Top 4 motorcycles.
So I have had 4 motorcycles in my life. I never really cared for motorcycles. I always thought, because I used to work in healthcare, I was a surgical first assistant, combat medic. So I always called them the death machines. And then I kind of fell in love with it because my twin brother rode one for a while. So my first one was a 2001 883 Sportster, which I don't recommend those because they're pretty much riding lawnmowers after a while. They're not powerful whatsoever. My second one was a 2006 Street Bob, and the Street Bob is probably my favorite one, and they used to be called a Dyna Class, but now they're just called FX DBI. After that, it's got to be the CVO Super Glide, which those are like $45,000 motorcycles. And believe it or not, actually the Indian Dark Horse, I really like those models now. Those are really, really beautiful.
Deep cut on the Indian.
Yeah, well, they came back in 2018, 2019, and now
It's been recent.
Yeah, it's been recent. So Kawasaki bought the license and started building them off there, and they're actually terrific bikes. I love them a lot.
That's amazing.
But
Making me
Harley,
want to get into it.
I'm a Harley guy, so I own 2 right now.
And
Yeah. Well, HD doesn't stand for Harley Davidson. It stands for hundreds of dollars.
all right, top 4 shows for you.
So this one's always kind of like, it depends on what I'm trying to do. I watch TV to go to sleep to, so typically I like some kind of sitcom thing. So The Office, nobody on this planet can defeat me in Office trivia, just saying. If I'm going 4 of all time, Breaking Bad is definitely on the list. Sons of Anarchy, and not just because of the motorcycle, because I don't think a lot of people realize that when Kurt Sutter was writing Sons of Anarchy, it's based off Othello. It's based off Hamlet and everything else, the whole patricide, matricide. It's a really beautiful story of everybody coming together in a Shakespearean thing, but on motorcycles. I like Yellowstone now. Unfortunately, there's some drama going on with that, but for me, that's Sons of Anarchy on horseback.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but it's, I think Cole Hauser as Rip Wheeler does a great job. Number 4 for me would probably be... I actually like the Flash TV show before it hit season 4 because it was like a whodunit, but also a really touching story about his mother and him having to go back and actually willingly let his mother die, and which was so he could protect everybody else. He had to make that ultimate sacrifice, which touches me and my brother because we actually unfortunately witnessed the death of our mother with domestic violence. So those things kind of touch home to me, and also I'm a geek and I love superheroes. I have 4 superhero tattoos. So
Flashpoint Paradox, that was by far one of DC's best runs.
I was really happy with it because we didn't know it was a crisis event going into it. Yeah. So it wasn't Crisis on Infinite Earth. So it wasn't 0 Hour. It wasn't Infinite Crisis or Final Crisis. So that shows how much of a nerd I am because I know all those things. It wasn't a world resetting event, but it became that into the New 52, which then it started Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder's run on Batman, which was so beautiful because they made the Court of Owls feel like something we always thought was there and just never realized it. Because everyone thinks Joker is Batman's greatest enemy, but what is the natural enemy of a bat? An owl. So I thought that was beautiful. It was really well written. The art is comic booky while also retaining like a realistic feel, which I really enjoyed.
Now we're gonna go a little bit more serious on this one.
Yep.
Because
what we just talked about was incredibly serious.
I know. But we're gonna get deeper into how you here lately have actually done some great good for the community here, because this is something that needs to be spread out.
So go ahead.
Sorry, top four community works.
The top four community works.
Just so they know.
So I don't typically talk about this stuff too often because I don't do it for recognition, but I also like to bring light to the plights of other individuals. So when I say these things, it's not me saying I do these works. It's, hey, this is something that maybe somebody else could get involved with. So I did serve in the Navy. I was a hospital corpsman, 8404, 8486, 8483. And then I worked at the VA. So I became an expert on VA benefits, VHA, VBA. So I help veterans nearly every day. And I'm actually a consultant with the Department of Veteran Affairs. And I'm actually initiating worldwide change, efficient change for better access to care. So I go to VFWs and I help veterans process those benefits. Because if you don't have near didactic level medical expertise, then you're not going to be able to get it. And if you don't have the ins and outs of how that system works, you're fighting an uphill battle. Number two, I actually visit sick and at-risk kids as Batman and Captain America in movie-grade suits, which I think you guys are going to post a couple of the pictures on this. I got involved in doing that in West Virginia, and it was through a company where I decided not to be part of them anymore. But I started doing it in Chicago, and then I'm doing it here a little bit. So I do the Batman voice, and I go in there and like try to cheer the kids up. It's usually the dads that want me to do it. They want me to say like, "Swear to me, I'm not wearing hockey pads," things of that nature. My voice is already kind of naturally raspy, so I don't really need to do it for the kids that much. But like as Captain America, I'll go sit with kids with chemo, and we tell them it's super soldier serum, and they'll pretend to hook me up too. So they're sitting with Captain America getting super soldier serum. Another thing that I do is this is going to sound really weird. In my community, I actually mow people's grass. And like if I see it, because all my work, my actual like real job work stuff is brain power. So I'm a consultant for a weapons design company, and I'm a consultant for a project management company for efficient project management. So I actually like getting out and like doing that kind of stuff and sweating, because you're military, so you know what I mean. There's one thing being behind a desk, there's one day getting your hands
You actually got to go out and do stuff.
Yeah, and you know, feel like a man and get some stuff done. But those are the things that I'm passionate about.
That's amazing. Which brings me into our last top four, and I think you'll like this one. Top four superheroes.
Okay, so I've always people ask me this question all the time. Do you like DC or do you like Marvel? So I always viewed DC as proactive. They're always going out trying to stop crime. Marvel's more reactive. They're the Avengers, not the Prevengers.
That's a good way to think of it, man.
So the Avengers are always Marvel's always playing cleanup. This event happened, we need to send somebody in there to investigate. Well, Batman, Superman, they're on patrol and they're trying to prevent this stuff from happening. If I want a good-hearted story, I go to Marvel. So Captain America is obviously very special to me, and I love Captain America, especially the Ultimate Universe, because he was an actual soldier.
Right.
But for me, Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner. So that'd be number two, and that's a very close second. Very close second, because that's the stories I remember growing up. And in 2012, my brother and I actually got to meet the original artist named Daryl Banks. And we told him like, hey, we grew up in foster care, we grew up in abusive homes, and Kyle Rayner was actually something we related to, and it was our escape. And I'm going to get choked up. As a present, he drew us with Kyle Rayner, the original artist from 1993.
That's amazing.
And he sent it to us, and it's in my office right now. It's my prized possession. So it's Kyle with his arms around us, and I love it so much. Number three, and it's Batman, but it's Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder's Batman. Only because he's a younger Batman. The story kind of got a little confusing with it, but it's a younger Batman trying to become something more than what he was meant to be. And I always enjoyed that. Number four, that's a toss-up between... so Superman is everyone's, but to me, Superman is also an allegory for Jesus Christ. He was sent to Earth to save humanity from itself by his Father. And so he sent his only begotten son to be able to defend these individuals. So I'm not numb to the fact that, there's allegories there. I actually really enjoy that. But for me, it's also hard to get behind somebody that's unbeatable. There's no human relation to that. There's nothing that says, I relate to this character.
Batman also proves that he's kind of dumb as hammer sometimes, too.
Well, and like they said, if you give Batman enough prep time, he can defeat anybody.
Yeah.
So, and I believe that. But for me, Superman is the original superhero, and he stands for so much good stuff. Even though they changed truth, justice, and the American way to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.
Didn't they recently change that back?
No,
did
did they change that back?
I want to say it's a very recent thing.
I didn't see it, but I'll look into it. I actually like.
Because I remember the stink over it.
Yeah, I actually like Truth, Justice, and a Better Tomorrow because I actually read a study that the Superman symbol is more recognizable than the cross.
Right.
People will recognize Superman's shield more so than they do religious iconography. So I always thought that was good. Number 4 on that list, lately I've been reading a lot of The Authority. So that whole really real world dynamic to it, I really enjoyed as well.
That's awesome. I can't thank you enough for being here and also for putting on the show tonight.
Yep.
Pro Wrestling Element is always a great show for all of us to go to. Families of all ages, sizes, and everything. Where can we find you on all the socials?
So my Instagram is at Troy Prime, but I try to keep that a little private. So if you request me on there, it's kind of up in the air. Even with your wife, I think I took like 2 weeks to approve her. But the next shows that we have are June 9th, which is my birthday, in Huntington, West Virginia, where I'm from, and June 10th in Portsmouth, Ohio. After that, we're back here in San Antonio at the Shrine Auditorium.
Okay, that will be back for
Yeah. I imagine you guys aren't going to go there. It's actually August 13th, not August 12th. Christopher Daniels was mistaken on that because that's a Sunday and we run on Sundays. And that one, right now, we have Pro Wrestling Element champion Daga versus Brandon Weiss in a actual title unification match because Brandon is now calling himself the real champion. Tessa Blanchard will be defending her championship. Christopher Daniels will be back, and he'll be wrestling Chris Marvel.
Oh, nice.
And cat's out of the bag. We're trying to get Alex Shelley for that event. So
nice.
We'll see. And hopefully we have Jonathan Gresham back, who I was
Absolute gentleman behind the scenes.
Wonderful
for those
human
that
being.
don't know.
If you've never had the pleasure of interacting with him, he's probably the most down-to-earth human being and just such a pleasure to talk to. And I adore them. I adored him. I was like, can you just hang out for a couple days? Like, let's just chat, man. We had such a good conversation, and I know I'm not taking out a term because he's made it public, about mental health, being able to take care of yourself, and he's really passionate about those things, and so am I. Like, for instance, PTSD with the military, which I'm sure you can appreciate. It's scars we earned. It's not scars that we got.
Right.
And we're able to do this so other people don't have to have those experiences. And Jonathan and I were having a really beautiful conversation about that, and I really appreciated it.
I can't thank you enough for all of this.
Of course.
We would not be here tonight doing all of these if it was not for Troy here. That's all we have for now because they're also giving us the Iggy to get out of here tonight.
Yeah.
I'm Waldo. Thank you again for joining us here on Face Wrestling. Catch us on youtube.com/Face Wrestling on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram. We don't have TikTok. And don't forget to stutter kick the like and subscribe button. And don't forget, everyone is different and everyone is good.